Yes.
Do you say I hate that?
No, I just have a mask on and I walk away. Like,
You walk away? Okay.
Miss Jacobson or
Well,
Amy. I say
that's
Amy. That's a noun, but something.
but that's better than responding to the question. Colin Wright, who's an evolutionary biologist and the editor of Quillette, had a good piece on this topic the other day in the Wall Street Journal. He writes, let me offer an analogy to this, hi, my pronoun is, or what is your pronoun, and you respond with, the appropriate pronouns of your gender. He said, imagine the National or the American Federation of Astrologers encouraging everyone to begin a conversation with, hi, I'm a Sagittarius, what's your sign? Because that's what the Human Rights Campaign is urging people to begin every conversation with, hi, my pronouns are, what are yours?
Right. He, him, him.
To respond with your own star sign in the comparison would be to operate within and signal your tacit agreement with the belief system of astrology. If you reject astrology and respond to the question with, I don't have a sign, the reply might be, of course you do. When were you born? But that's a completely different question, isn't it? So if somebody asks me what my sign is, that's what I say. I don't believe in that nonsense. And if somebody asks me what my pronouns are, I don't believe in that nonsense. What do you think they are? Yeah,
People end emails now, all of them, him, her, his, thee, them, that.
Right.
I mean, it's all
right. But that's
weird.
that's acceptance of a false framework. Wright concludes his piece. The effort to resist gender ideology is reality's last stand. We simply can't ignore fundamental realities of our biology and expect positive outcomes for society. Pronoun rituals are extremely effective at normalizing and institutionalizing the abolition of biological sex in favor of gender identity. These rituals take advantage of people's confusion and compassion to achieve compliance, but the time for politeness has long passed. The only proper response to the question, what are your pronouns, is to reject the premise and refuse to answer. Always go to the premises. Thomas Sowell's famous admonition. Forget what people say their view is on a particular topic. Examine the premises from which they start. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Libby Emmons. She is the editor-in-chief of the Post Millennial. Libby, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
You've recently wrote a piece about a school district, which won't surprise you. We've talked about quite a bit because it is perhaps the worst school district in the state when it comes to pushing the race hustling ideology of anti-racism, as well as the gender-bending ideology of gender identity that Colin Wright was writing about in his piece in the Journal. Evanston, Skokie, District 65. It's always nice to have an outsider's perspective on what's happening in a suburban community in Chicagoland. And examining their curriculum, you found what?
I found that there are 3 weeks of the year that are dedicated to ideological indoctrination for kids all the way as young as 5 through 8th grade and up into high school. And it was actually pretty surprising to see how it was laid out, because these documents and lesson plans were available online up to 5th grade. Once you were over 6th grade, you couldn't see them without a permission. This information was given to me by parents who in the area who finds it all to be pretty horrifying that this is what's going on at their school. And so I was very interested to dig in. I love when parents get in touch with me and they say, and this is like a conversation I've had so many times, I can't say this in my community, but this really needs to be exposed. Our kids are at risk. And I've had that happen all over the country. So I love that, being able to dig in and have a parent's perspective on what's going on. And yeah, so I found it pretty shocking. I think Colin is right about the pronouns. I think when somebody asks you your pronouns, you just say, I don't believe in that, and that's perfectly reasonable, especially the way that all of this gender ideology stuff is set up. It's set up like a religion in which gender has replaced the soul. And now we're supposed to let our kids be indoctrinated into this fake religion that has absolutely nothing but candy corn at the center of it.
And is our teachers and the school district solely to blame? Because recently I was with a group of teenage girls, and they're, coming downstairs say, "Well, I'm a lesbian," and like, what are you? You've never even had an experience, or kissed a boy or a girl, and they're just making these declarative statements. I think they're hearing all of this at school.
Yeah, and there's a cool factor to it as well, which is sort of interesting because a lot of the lessons are about how, kids who identify differently get bullied. And it turns out, I think, just from talking to some other kids, that the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, et cetera, contingent are sort of the cool kids. And so if you don't believe in that stuff, or if you're just, a regular straight kid, then you're kind of excluded. You're left out of that exclusive club. And I think teachers are pushing this stuff. I think they believe that they're doing the compassionate thing. I've seen this from a number of teachers. They say, we taught this, and this happened in this District 65. One of the teachers, after a lesson in gender ideology, one of their students said, "Oh, I'm not actually a boy. I'm a they now." And another student came in with nail polish on his fingernails. My son has asked me before, "What would you do if I asked if I could wear nail polish to school?" And he's 11, and I would say no. Now ask me what I would say if you were a girl, because I would say the exact same thing. This is not what's needed. In an educational framework, we don't need you getting, made up or whatever to appear some other way than you are. So, yeah, and I do think also what's going on with teachers is that they're indoctrinated with this stuff in their graduate schools, and they're proud of it. If you look at the top graduate schools for Masters of Education degrees around the country, they are all full on with this stuff. So, so many school districts require that teachers have master's degrees. And when you require a teacher to have a master's degree, you require that they go to one of these ridiculous schools like Teachers College at Columbia University, where social justice is a huge part of the impetus behind the lessons that those teachers are getting taught.
Yeah, and it's you're right, and I know that you said they think they're being compassionate. What they're actually being is sentimental barbarians, and I think we have to call these things what they are. It's barbarism. You mentioned what happens at school and the indoctrination of the indoctrinator. So they get indoctrinated and they turn around. It's like a train the trainer exercise. So here's an example of one elementary school counselor. She took to TikTok, which, by the way, enforces pronouns and LGBTQ strictures, and this is where a lot of young people are. So then this gets reinforced on social media. And she offered this, which I think is about as good an example of the sentimentality of this movement as possible. It's very subtle. This is and almost persuasive because she sounds very nice and very, as you said, empathetic and compassionate. We're going to be tolerant, but it's so dangerous and, as I said, barbaric. Take a listen.
I teach my elementary school students about gender identity. Learning about gender identity helps children develop critical social emotional skills such as self-awareness, social awareness, and respect. I teach my students that there's a whole spectrum of gender identities and that everyone, whatever their gender, deserves love and respect. Some people are girls, some are boys, some are both, some are neither. Gender is all about how we feel on the inside and how we express ourselves. The most important thing I teach my students is that it's our job to listen to and learn from people when they share with us who they are, and that we need to use the name and the pronouns that people ask us to use when we refer to them. Here are some of the books and tools that I found the most useful when teaching about gender identity.
And so it's all about love and respect and letting kids feel their feelings.
Yeah, what it really is a kind of feminist fascism where everybody has to comply with this new thing. And a key thing about this gender stuff is that kids are learning that gender is ephemeral, that it's some sort of feeling, right? It's undefined. It's just there in your chest, which is what some people at the Trevor Project were saying. Oh, my gender just feels like it's sparkly in my chest, is what people say. Then gender just is, right? It just is. It's this essence. They're also being taught about stereotypes and how stereotypes of boys and girls are bad things. But these same stereotypes are how gender is being visibly defined. So if you are a girl and you like to wear a baseball cap, you like a boy thing, even though we just learned that gender stereotypes are bad. But now that you like this boy thing, that's an indicator of your special ephemeral gender soul, right? I mean, this is just ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense. The whole concept that you have some special feeling of what a woman is, or some special feeling of what it is to be a man, that's not what it's about. How often do we all spend going around thinking about like our special feeling associated with the fact that we have specific reproductive organs and someone else has different ones? It doesn't matter. And it's being turned into this spiritual quest. It's almost like coming out is now the only rite of passage that's acceptable for these kids. Wow. You don't get to have religion anymore, right? We've destroyed religion in our country in so many ways. That was such a huge part of rite of passage ceremonies. You had confirmation in the Catholic Church. You have, bar and bat mitzvahs in Jewish religion. You have all of these different things, these ways that we can signify becoming adults. And now the way we signify becoming adults is we claim our weird genderness and then proclaim it to the world and demand everybody bow down and respect it, or else they're terrible people. And it's an absurd way to conduct a society.
And on the race side, it's how we properly calibrate the thumbs up emoji we use. NPR had a real deep dive on this, a real think piece. Which skin color emoji should you use? The answer can be more complex than you think. And the lead graph in this, Heather Rosella identifies as 3/4 white and 1/4 Filipino. When texting, he chooses a yellow emoji instead of a skin tone option because he feels it doesn't represent any specific ethnicity or color. Oh, God. It's very, the thumbs up emoji, it's just a hornet's nest. It's so complicated.
I had a friend who was saying that now because of this, what she wants is a red, white, and blue emoji that every time you post it, it plays the Star Spangled Banner and shoots off fireworks. And I think that's what we should all have now, right? Like, I identify as an American. I think that should be enough for anybody.
Me
it's
too.
absurd that we need to bisect our identities according to the bloodlines of our ancestors. I mean, it's so absurd. Well, and it's anti-American as well.
Yeah, and then they have a pregnant man emoji too now because, men can get pregnant, which is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that so much. And this idea that white people using a supposedly neutral emoji is just part of their ongoing privileged supremacy or whatever is just so absurd. The concept that you don't want to judge people or classify people according to their skin color is now considered to be the racist perspective. And of course, that's the perspective we got from our great civil rights leaders. How can this be the wrong thing now? Now we're supposed to look at everybody and see their ephemeral genderness as well as their ancestral lineage. Why? What are we possibly gaining from that other than making our society more divisive, making people more self-obsessed, and destroying any kind of real civil community that we had up to this point or could have in the future?
She is Libby Emmons. She is the editor-in-chief of the Post Millennial. Libby, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Going to the dentist shouldn't be scary. It should be more like this. For an experience at the dentist that's more like going to a spa, meet Dr. Luma at North Shore Dental Group. Preventative and cosmetic dentistry for the entire family. North Shore Dental Group patients love to come to the dentist, and you will too. With luxurious and comfortable open bays and private rooms, you'll feel relaxed and forget you're even at the dentist. Dr. Luma uses laser surgery when needed for less pain, faster recovery time, and quicker healing. And she's an expert in implant dentistry, all part of the state-of-the-art, stress-free, and welcoming experience at North Shore Dental Group, Northwest Highway in Park Ridge. Dr. Luma is now accepting new patients, and for a limited time, new patient exams with full mouth x-rays are only $59.99. Call 847-292-8200 or Google Dr. Luma. That's L-U-M-A. North Shore Dental Group, a lifetime of healthy smiles.
I love talking about this, life quotes. Well, and there's some information to share that is relevant for many of you. Do you own a term life insurance policy? If so, you might be able to convert all or part of your own term life policy into a permanent plan that could give you level premiums for life without any health questions or medical exams. Here's what you do. It's easy to see if you're eligible, and the consultation is free. Gotta love that. Just call the Life Quotes Helpline. That's the Life Quotes Helpline at 800-640-5433. 800-640-5433.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
The product that you have given me here is sent to me from heaven. I love it a great deal. It's hard to find anything that's real nowadays. I enjoy it immensely. It's making my life so much better. I feel so much better.
It's really fantastic. I mean, just my overall health is fantastic. And I plan on continue taking this because I'm convinced that it absolutely contributes to your well-being, to your health, to keeping you healthy. Let your body do what it's supposed to do.
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
All right, 24/7 managed IT services. If you run or own a small business, that may seem like something only the big corporations can afford, the big dogs, but that's simply not true. Turnkey can make IT resources happen for your business for an incredibly affordable price. You'll get the peace of mind of 24/7 managed IT services from Turnkey and eliminate the hourly fees others charge, which can add up quickly.